Monday night low -6, Scott.
It's getting warmer and warmer.
Yes. Friday tonight's low is 13. Saturday's 11. Sunday is 1. Monday is -6. Tuesday is 14. Wednesday is 16. Thursday is 9. The highs are Saturday is 20. Sunday is 11. Monday is 4. High of 4.
That's cold.
Yep.
Yeah, after doing the Winter Star Party event, it makes me really want to go and hang out in Florida.
You can do it. Just hook up Barbara Jean and put the snow tires on and leave.
Just go. Yeah, that's right. That's right. In this weather, though, it's too icy. I wouldn't want to pull a trailer.
Yeah, I know. It'd be tough.
Would not want to do that. There's this group that I share with sometimes. It's called the Dogs and Cats of Astronomy. I think it's funny. Dogs and Cats of Space and Astronomy on Facebook.
What do they talk about?
Well, it's dogs and cats talking about space and astronomy, I guess.
Mike Wiesner said, just another Friday.
Another freezing cold Friday.
Yep, for most of the country.
Yeah. Happy Friday. There we go. We got Richard Grace on, James the astrophotographer, Jeff Wise, Mike, of course, Cameron Gillis. Yeah, howdy everyone.
Hey, be watching for Stefan Dalpra because we need to confirm his address.
Yeah. You see that I've got a poster up there for the Astronomical League live event, which is going to be tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern. So that's coming up a couple hours for us. So.
Yep. 3 hours. Well.
No, it's 7 p.m. Eastern.
No. 7 p.m. Eastern. Yeah.
Eastern. So 6 p.m. Central.
Yeah. Yep.
It's going to be about dark matter. It's going to be cool. Hey, Michael Whitaker.
Hey, Harold, looking at your comment on Facebook. Yeah, it's going to be a cool Monday here. The low is supposed to be -6 right now. The high Monday is 4.
Yeah, that's too cold.
And we're not measured in Celsius either.
No.
For our Canadian friends.
Yeah, it's in the minus Celsius degrees. When's the next star party? It's going to be on Tuesday.
My name is Melanie King, and I'm an artist working with alternative photography processes.
My name's Lucy Green, and I'm a professor of physics at UCL. This piece of art is based on the Solar Orbiter mission, and that launched in February 2020.
We have been making a large cyanotype. So today we've been using 2 iron-based salts mixed with water that become sensitive to ultraviolet light.
The physicality of making this piece of art with Melanie has been really rewarding. It's just totally different for me to do something like this.
The collaboration has been really interesting. It's been great to learn more about the sun and the solar orbiter.
Even though Solar Orbiter is now on its journey, getting closer and closer to the sun, it makes me smile to think that maybe it will just trigger something, a bit of curiosity to find out a bit more.
Hello, everybody. This is Scott Roberts here, and I'm with Kent Martz, and this is the FirstLight Chronicles program. And this is our 20th show, Kent, so We've been taking people kind of on a journey on this program to talk about how to get started with beginning equipment, how to attend star parties, kind of the ins and outs of all that stuff. That a beginner or somebody who's just gone past like the beginning stage, and is starting to get more into the lifestyle of astronomy. It's been a good ride. So we've covered a lot in the program, and this time we're going to cover, how to protect your equipment, and and we have a little segment on how to clean, explore scientific, waterproof eyepieces. We'll give you some warnings about cleaning other eyepieces ahead of that. Protecting your investment is important. And if you do, you're going to have a higher resale value if you ever decide to sell your equipment or trade it. A clean telescope will perform better, not just optically, but, all the mechanical parts of it, the mount parts, the gears, keeping rust off of your telescope and everything. So what do you advise people when they're asking about maintaining their gear?
Well, the biggest question we face is people will have a few specks of dust on their optics and be freaking out. And my first conversation is, and all the CSRs have this kind of conversation, is you don't worry about them. It's like right now my glasses have dust on them.
Right.
I can't see it. But if I take my glasses off and hold them up to the light, I can see it.
If you shine a real bright flashlight on your glasses,
yeah,
you're going to see all kinds of stuff, right?
But yeah, if I take my phone and do this, I can see all sorts of stuff start showing up. But just in use, I can't see that. So the question becomes, does it need cleaning, or are you just being obsessive compulsive about cleanliness? Right. Howard Hughes washed his hands hundreds of times a day. You don't need to wash your hands hundreds of times a day. You need to wash your hands when you need to wash your hands. You need to clean your optics when you need to clean your optics. And that is not very often is what it comes down to.
Right.
And especially if you do it wrong. You press real hard, you don't get the dust off, and you grind into the coatings. We got a pair of binoculars in last week.
Even if you do that, you scratch let's say there's a piece of sand and you're pressing down hard and you scratch the coating.
Doesn't matter.
Think that's going to affect your image?
No, we had a pair of high-end binoculars come in that looks like exactly that happened. Like you took a piece of metal and went like that on it. On one of them was worse, but you could hold them up to your eyes.
Yeah. Outside,
inside, bright light, you could not see it. It didn't affect anything. But but you look at them and you think, these are horrible, but they don't affect anything. So the advice is, don't be compelled to clean your optics. Right. Don't be compelled to just continuously wipe off that front piece of glass. Every time you do, you run the risk of creating some problems for yourself, whether they're really problems or you see it and you just know it's a problem when it's really not. Like,
you see it and you can't stand it.
Like the dust on my glasses right now. I could clean my glasses and make them cleaner, but I can see fine. But if I took my fingers and smeared my finger grease on them, then I'm gonna have to clean my glasses. So that's how I sort of describe the difference. Is like, do you really need to clean your glasses? And eyepieces are a different story. Our eyepieces are waterproof eyepieces, which gives you more options than cleaning other brands that are not waterproof eyepieces. And as Scott has told the story before, he has a friend, and we say don't do this, but it's an illustrative story. He puts his eyepieces in his dishwasher.
Yeah, now he does turn off the heating element.
Right. Okay. But he puts his eyepieces in the dishwasher.
Right.
So
that's true.
Don't do that with a non-waterproof eyepiece, because it's going to be very bad very quickly.
Well, it's just going to fill up with water between the lens
Right.
elements.
And so then you could take them apart and dry them out, or
Right.
better yet, just go to www.explorescientificusa.com and buy yourself a set of waterproof eyepieces and replace that one you just washed in your dishwasher. That's always a great option.
Now, until that guy sent us that message that he was putting them in the dishwasher. I mean, it was kind of a joke around here. Okay, we got waterproof eyepieces. How do you clean them? Oh, you stick them in the dishwasher. Well, this guy actually does that. But what I would say is that having a waterproof eyepiece makes a lot of sense. I used to do a lot of visual observing from the California deserts, and I would run into scenarios where I would have my eyepieces in my foam line Pelican case, and there would be moisture that would gather at night, even out in the dry desert, okay? And I would seal the box up and lock the locks, okay? So now it's airtight in there, all right? And then the sunshine would come in. It was like a steam bath in there, I remember flipping open the lid one time and seeing all my eyepieces, and in between the lens elements was fog, every one of them, okay? And so what I did was I
Panicked?
I put them in I wrapped them like in a heating blanket, and tried to dry them out like that. But occasionally, once it got in there, it would seem to go away and then it would come back. And it seemed to go away and it would come back, So, and the way to really get it out is to take the lens apart, the eyepiece apart. Now you've got a multiple element system, and it's hard to tell which way they go in. It's really hard to clean the eyepieces, okay, because you'll get little specks of dust and dirt between them. And it's there that you will see that, if you got a speck of dust near the field stop of your eyepiece, you'll absolutely see it, okay? And it just bothers you, okay? Dust and stuff on a lens element, though, or a mirror of a telescope, and I'll show you. I love to show this picture, and I've shown it before.
This isn't dust you're going to show, Scott.
That?
You're being disingenuous. This is not dust you're going to show.
Not dust. This is not dust. This is
bullet holes.
This is the Mcdonald Observatory gun shooting incident. Okay, it's a real true story from 1970, and this guy took a 9mm handgun and unloaded the clip on the mirror. Okay, and to this day they still use this 2.7 meter telescope for research. They've never experienced any kind of problems. But look at that. To the naked eye, we're not talking with a bright flashlight or anything like that. To the naked eye, you can see these huge holes that are in the mirror itself. When you get up close to this mirror, and there's pictures of it up close, you can see scratches, you can see all kinds of stuff. Because the guy went down there when he realized he wasn't blasting the mirror apart with his handgun. He goes down there with, it even says here,
a sledgehammer.
Yeah, he did preliminary blows with a hammer and it was extraordinarily small. The damage is limited to small craters, about 3 to 5 centimeters in radius. And so they said that they figured they lost around 1%. Okay. So when you look at specks of dust, we're talking 0.0000001% or something like that. It's going to be so little that you're not going to experience problems. And it is for that reason, and telescope makers know this, okay? In the amateur telescope making process, we certainly know that that there's not going to be problems by having small specks of dust in between a lens element. And if you went to any professional observatory, you would see lots of dust and lots of dirt on telescope mirrors, okay? I take you to the Palomar 200-inch, I take you to the Keck telescope, I can take you to all kinds of telescopes. And if you and I take a bright flashlight and get close to that mirror, we're going to see all kinds of dust, artifacts, sleek scratches, polishing marks, all kinds of stuff, uneven coatings. But professionals are doing research, okay, and they're not looking at the telescope as if it's jewelry, okay. They're getting the job done. They're gathering data, and of course they want the best telescopes in the world to do that with. But on the checklist, if it's got some dust on it or a sleek, does that reject I can't use the Keck telescope tonight because it's got too much dust on the mirror?
So Scott, talk about what.
Yeah, their astronomers would be laughing you off the mountain. So
Talk about sleeks and polishing marks. Sleeks look horrible. People
they look horrible, but here's the issue. You've got a highly polished surface. Telescope mirrors for the amateur astronomy use are ground to a fraction of a wavelength of light. Okay, so
typically 1/4, right?
We do.
We're 1/4 or better.
Wave or better. That's what we guarantee. You can buy them better. You can buy them worse. Okay, with our telescopes, you are going to get a diffraction limited set. Sleeks look like real fine, bright scratches in the coatings, but these happen. Sleeks can happen for a variety of reasons, but one of the ways it can happen is actually during the coating process. So if you've ever seen how a coating chamber works, you've got like this giant bell jar that comes down over. Maybe I can find a photograph of one for you. Let's see. Coating chamber for telescope. That's an old one. This is a new one.
Yeah, while you're looking it up, Harold said he had his 4-inch lens. Harold Locke had his 4-inch lens covered with dew and dust streaks. I could see poo out of it. I think he meant to write I couldn't see poo out of it. And yes, if you're covered in dew, you can't see out of it.
If you have a uniform coating of like dust and you couldn't hardly see your reflection, okay, well, that's a different story.
It's just like this. I can put my mask on and get my glasses to fog up, and I can't see poo out of it.
Right.
Because I've got a full.
Yeah, that's not what we're talking about.
Right.
That's not what we're talking about. Let me see. I want to find okay, this is an amateur level type coating machine.
Isn't there a guy that goes to like Stellafane every year that has a portable coating machine that coats mirrors for people?
I've never been to Stellafane. I don't know.
I think I've read that somewhere, seen pictures. You've never been to Stellafane?
I've never been. Yeah. Stellafane is, they don't like to have commercial vendors there, So this is an amateur.
You're Scott Roberts. You can go with Scott Roberts.
I could go with Scott Roberts. That's true.
Yeah, Harold's talking about he made a dew shield and a warmer for it. And yes, that's the answer for dew, is a dew shield and a warmer. And, dust sticks. And once it sticks, at some point after something like that, if you get a lot of dew and then a dust storm comes up, you are going to have to clean the optics. And there's ways to do it. We're going to talk about that here in a minute.
This is what one of these coating chambers looks like here.
And we do have directions on our website that talks about our recommendations for cleaning optics. If you go down to the bottom of our website, you'll see there's a tab under support. That's knowledge base and FAQs. Click on it. General telescopes and optics FAQs. How do I clean my telescope optics?
All right.
The direction on how to do it.
This is what a coating chamber looks like. Okay. So you can see there's a control center right here. Okay. This is to the right. There is something that looks like a bell jar, and that's exactly what it is. Okay. And it separates. And so when you separate it, in the bottom of it, you will see a place to put in the materials that you're going to coat with. And at the top is a frame that will hold your optics, okay? Sometimes the frame spins or whatever. And you will find that there are sometimes little deflectors and stuff like that inside the coating chamber that help smooth out the coating itself. But effectively what happens is that behind the coating chamber there, you see like there's like a raised pillar there with pipes running to it. This is a diffusion pump, and it pumps a vacuum into the chamber. This is after you clean your optics and you load it into the chamber, and you've already loaded in the coating materials itself. Once you have it in there, then an electric charge runs through the coating material, which effectively just vaporizes the material. And a cloud of the coating material, whether it's aluminum or multi-coating types of coating materials, blends of coatings, these kinds of things, they're fired off in sequence, or they're used with an ion beam an ion beam shoots ions and hammers the material that's like in this little cup, and then that makes this cloud that goes inside the chamber. But then that coats everything, including all the optics, but the entire coating chamber gets coated, okay? And then when you're finished, you release the vacuum, and then you open up the chamber, and you start to pull the optics out. And that's how they're coated. What can create a sleek is when you have one way is that some atoms of material can build up and scoot across the optic. Now, this is normally seen on a mirror, okay, a highly reflective mirror. And if you reflect the light off the mirror on, let's say you have a dark shadow that you can also look at the same time, you will see what looks like a really thin hairline, like a cat scratch across the mirror. But it's not really in the glass, it's in the coating, okay? And you can have coatings that don't have them in there, but it's really just a cosmetic thing because it does not affect coating performance. It doesn't affect how much reflection you're going to get. It doesn't change the formation of the image. Even if you had a star somehow land right on the sleek area, then you wouldn't see it. So at one point I'll bring onto the show, I'll show some optics that has sleeks on them so you can see that. But
polishing marks. Polishing marks are much the same things.
They happen in the glass before you coat it, okay? Now, if you are polishing a mirror or a refractive lens and you are making corrections to that optic, and you're trying to get it to a quarter wave or 10th wave or whatever you're trying to shoot for, okay, you can make kind of rub marks on the optic itself as you're trying to hit this correction. And we're polishing with different kinds of compounds. And so we can either, sometimes an optician that's making an optic will have to decide, well, gosh, am I going after a beautiful, cosmetically beautiful surface, or am I going after a highly corrected surface, okay? I've talked to the good people at Astrophysics that make incredible optics, okay? And of course, you would be paying the extra dollars for, an Astrophysics refractor, and you would be waiting. Their wait time right now is, I think, 5 to 8 years, something like that, to get an Astrophysics. But once they are done, once they have the optic where they want it, they just stop. They just stop, and they assemble it, and they put it into the scope. And
so Scott, what they're doing is they'll take that lens blank or the lens and put it in an interferogram and measure it and look at the interferogram and go, okay, this little spot right
this
here,
little area right
and
here,
they'll go and polish it and then do it again, and they just keep doing that, and they can see exactly.
Effectively, that's true.
And there's Palomar tells the story that the opticians that made the mirror on one of the big telescopes, literally as they were trying to install it, they were still going in there with jeweler's rouge and a cloth, and in
by
specific
hand?
areas by hand,
By hand. Yeah.
rubbing down
Yeah.
atoms of glass, literally taking off atom layers of glass, trying to make it as perfect as they
As
could
good as
before
they
they got it
can.
mounted.
That's
You
right.
know, but literally, she said, I remember the guy that gave us the tour said, area 3 or 4 inches, and they go in and just polish it and just continuously working on it until they finally put it in the vacuum chamber.
Yeah.
And
As an optician, you can go crazy doing this stuff,
yeah,
you know.
yeah.
So you look at some of the guys, some of the great opticians in history, like George Ritchie, who made the 60-inch at Mount Wilson and started on the 100-inch. But you know, he had I think both him and George Ellery Hale had kind of mental breakdowns over getting the 100-inch ready. Nevertheless, you know, the 60-inch at Mount Wilson is considered to be a diffraction limited large aperture telescope. It's one of the few larger aperture scopes that is diffraction limited. Most of them are not. But anyways, that's the optical story. With telescope eyepieces, you know, I wanted to have eyepieces that were rugged, you know, high performance, wide field eyepieces that you would not be afraid to take out, you know, for educational outreach purposes. You know, if you're doing educational outreach, a lot of the people who do a lot of it won't take good eyepieces with them because they're afraid that, you know, kids with like sticky fingers are going to get something on the lens or eye makeup or these kinds of things on there, and they just don't want to take their prized eyepieces out for that. And the reason for that is that it's so difficult to clean them afterwards. But having a waterproof eyepiece is actually pretty easy to clean.
Well, Scott, let's prove they're waterproof. Let's show that video.
All right. So this video is with Mike Hatch, who worked with me for several years, and he's in the QA. He was in QA for a long time, and he knows how to clean them. So here we go.
Hey everybody, it's Mike Hatch with Explore Scientific, and thank you for joining us in how to clean our waterproof eyepieces. So, as you're out there viewing the night sky, you're going to have a multiple variety of eyepieces, different brands from different manufacturers, different eye reliefs, different field of views. Well, the great thing about these Explore Scientific waterproof eyepieces is that they are sealed with our argon purged. They have a lifetime warranty, fully transferable, and they are easy to clean and maintain. So today I'm going to use one of our 62-degree 40s, and we're literally going to dunk it into this water with some of our household items here, and we're going to clean these eyepieces. Now again, I want to say, if you have a non-waterproof eyepiece, you do not want to try this. Basically what will happen is water will get into those eyepieces, get onto those optics, and you'll have to then take it apart or send it in for repair. So again, waterproof eyepieces only. So we're going to take just some degreaser here, and I'm just going to pour a couple drops into the water that we've got. Now I'm going to take the eyepiece. I'm going to remove the eye relief just to clean it separately. But now I'm just going to take this eyepiece and kind of swoosh it around in the water. All right, now that I've dunked it in a few times, I'm going to wipe off just that excess water on the outside. I'm then going to take some distilled water. I'm going to go ahead and spray it directly onto those optics. And with that distilled water, what that does is it helps keep it to where there's no water spots drying onto those optics. So then we're going to take our pressured air, canned air, we're going to blow it off and then wipe it down. And I'm using a microfiber cloth here to wipe down the eyepiece. Just the outside. You can take some tissue paper or something nice and soft for those optics. And that is it. That is our process on how to clean Explore Scientific waterproof eyepieces. Literally something you can do in minutes. with some household objects. So, give us a call or shoot us an email if you have any questions, and keep looking up.
Okay.
So one thing that scares me about that video is watching Mike with that can of canned air, because I have had the mistake of tipping it a little bit on a brand new can and giving it a blast,
Yeah.
and the propellant comes out.
Yeah, I always spray it on my hand first,
Yeah.
because you can feel propellant coming out. So you just want to, and you don't want to shake the can because that's going to make the propellant come out too. So
Right. Hold it level, test
yeah.
it. Be careful with
the
that.
compressed air makes a lot of sense. And
Yeah.
so, anyways, let me read through some of the comments here. I think someone had a question about cleaning a diagonal mirror. Okay, and really, what I would do with the diagonal mirror, I mean, if you have like a film of material on the diagonal mirror, it looks really dusty and kind of hazy looking. Then I would probably clean that mirror with. To be very frank, if I could, I would take the diagonal apart, okay, and just where I had the mirror itself, and I would wash the mirror the same way that Mike did, by dunking it in water, loosening up any material that's on there, okay, using compressed air. If you need to swab it, I don't use cotton balls, because I have bad luck with the little stringy, cotton fibers.
Flannel.
A lot of people like to use cotton balls, they're fine with it. Okay, I use Kleenex brand soft teak, unscented, unlotioned tissue. Okay, and if it's a small surface, I will take the tissue and I'll roll it. So I have like a wand, and then I just break it in half, and now I have two wands that I can go in there and I can clean little areas. But I never apply pressure. I will use the detergent liquid mixture, and my secret formula. If you guys want to write this down, you can. But my secret formula is that I use 1/3 pure isopropyl, or 99% or better isopropyl, not rubbing alcohol, because rubbing alcohol has lanolin in it. Okay, has something to soften your skin. I would use 99% or better pure isopropyl, 2/3 distilled water. This is to make like a quart of it. Okay, so 1/3 isopropyl, 2/3 distilled water, and then I use formula 409 as a surfactant, okay, to release stuff, and I'll put 4 drops in a quart, okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. I have the compressed air, the can of compressed air. I have, I will also, I like to have a camel hair brush, like a photographic grade camel hair brush, okay, and then the tissues, and I will start out blowing off the dust. If that works, great, I'm done, okay? If there's something stubborn, maybe I go there with the camel hair brush and see if I can lift it off, and then I blow it down. If it's done, fine. If there's pollens, makeup, cotton candy, whatever, you name it, sticky stuff that's on there, okay? Or there's a film of stuff that has built up because of air pollution. If it's a very old optic, sometimes you'll see that. What I will do is I'll go in there with the, I usually start off with pure isopropyl. I'll have a bottle of that. I'll spray it down and see if I can just take a swab of tissue and just swab it. Not press down on it, but just swab it. And see if that's removing the materials. If I still have materials on there that seem to be stubborn, then I'll use the mixture, okay, which is the 1/3, isopropyl, 2/3 distilled water, and 4 drops of formula 409. Or you can use 4 drops of Dawn liquid dishwashing detergent, which is another great surfactant. But get the unscented, unlotioned. You just want the clear stuff. Okay.
And Scott, I want to be clear here. You're not talking about taking the mirror out of the diagonal. You're talking about taking the barrel off, taking off
That's right.
everything, unscrewing
That's
taking the barrel,
because
taking
by
the
the time
sides
I'm done
off.
with it, after I'm done cleaning it, okay, all the thing that's holding the diagonal is still, is going to be together with it, and I'm going to clean that too. Okay, so that's fine, and then you just let it dry. But the last thing you do want to do is you want to use distilled water. Because that eliminates water spots. Okay, and that's just a cosmetic thing, but that's the last thing that you use. Another material, liquid that is sometimes used by opticians is acetone, and acetone is a little dicey because if you have plastic parts, you have painted parts nearby, stuff like that. Acetone will also affect that, and so you don't necessarily want that, but if you just have a raw surface, lens surface material or lens surface to clean, acetone will also dissolve things that are difficult to remove. Most of the time, I would say 99 or 9 times out of 10, when I see people cleaning their optics, they really don't need to be cleaned. Okay. People just get bugged because there's something on it, and they just think that it's going to work better if they get those few specks off, or like some little smudge or something like that off of it. Okay, but it's absolutely not true. So there's other types of cleaning material as well. There's like a film that you can paint on the lens and let it dry and then peel it off, and that will take everything off as well.
Okay, Scott, I want to stop right there. We had a person who used that product,
okay,
and did not follow the directions very well. And on an FCD 100, 127 or 102, one or the other.
Okay.
And you had the liquid went down inside.
They use too much. Okay.
Well, they didn't build a dam around the edge like they're supposed to, because they give you this compound to build a dam.
Yeah, because the AED 127 is not a waterproof.
It's high, and that liquid is hyper liquid, and so they just
all inside, right?
And dissolved their airspace in rings and ruined the telescope. That's the reaction this person had. They laughed. They thought it was the funniest thing on earth.
Oh my God.
Yes. And so we got them and we took it apart, and literally they were like melted Jello. I mean, it was just this stringy, nasty stuff. And those air spacings are sub-millimeter diameter. I mean, it's very, very narrow.
Yeah.
But it made an astounding mess and ruined their cell. So if you're going to use that stuff, follow the directions.
Yeah.
Follow the directions.
Right. And so the directions I was giving you on cleaning a diagonal is the same thing that you would use to clean a primary mirror on a Newtonian. Take the whole lens cell out. You don't have to take it out, the mirror out of the cell. Just you have the cell itself. Okay. And so usually there's just screws, perimeter screws. You pull the thing off. I usually like to put a mark on the tube and on the lens cell, so when I put it back on, I'm lining everything up, and then I can tighten my screws back on again.
So you could put a pencil mark or a piece of tape on the side of the mirror and know that it fits on this clip, and just orient it in there the same way, right? And
I don't even take it off the clips usually. Okay. I mean,
but if you were going to, you could.
Because most of the time when I'm cleaning, I'm like cleaning a little area on the mirror. But if it really needs, I mean, if you just let it sit up in the attic for 15 years, okay, and dust has been falling on it and falling on it and falling, you look at it and it looks like a haze. You can tell there's a mirror somewhere down there, okay? That mirror needs to be cleaned, okay? But
soak it in a water, distilled water, and 100% isopropyl, and which is what we did with the telescope we got from Pennsylvania, the finder scope. Soaked it for like 3 weeks,
Right.
and just wanted to soften everything up that we could, and we cleaned up perfect. It's spectacular.
Right. Harold Locke has asked me, how about lens cleaning pens? I don't like them myself because you have the tendency to press down on a pen, okay, and then go around and clean it. I know it has a nice soft pad on it and stuff, but when I'm cleaning, I like something. I like a much softer touch than the lens cleaning pen can give me. So I've never really been a big fan. Some people love them and they clean their eyepieces and their little optics with them, and they do really good. But let's see.
I tell people, try to touch it without touching the surface. You want to just
right.
barely
And
touch
that's
it.
hard for me to do with a lens pen. So.
Yeah.
Edwin Sanchez is asking you a question, Ken. He says, I was curious to ask, I noticed that the big stars like Rigel have a weird spike. Most big stars too with my ED102 Apo. Someone mentioned it could be the lens screw reflecting. What say you? I think that probably he's got the shipping screws.
No, I want to
think?
see a picture of it. I want to see a picture of it
Yeah.
before making a pronouncement.
Okay. Could be a light chimney. Could be a light chimney from the scope cooling down,
Right.
Which is very normal. And you may need to let your scope cool down.
But I'd like to see a picture of it before making an announcement, a guess. Everything I do is going to be a guess. If I don't see it, Edwin.
Yeah.
I have not seen pictures of shipping screw wedges are obvious, but I have never seen visually shipping screw wedge artifacts. I think it's fine for visual.
I have, but usually what it looks like a dark mark coming in.
Just like the
lens.
pictures do. It's a wedge.
It's a wedge.
It's a wedge, and what it sounds like Edwin's seeing is a vertical spike of light coming up
That is
away
usually
from it.
That is usually a light. That is a heat chimney coming off the scope. So, and you see it on really bright stars, and you just got to let the scope cool down. This is a very common thing to see during wintertime because you're taking a warm scope outside, and you haven't let it cool down to the nighttime temperature yet.
By the way, hi Edwin.
Harold Locke wants to know, does acetone hurt coated optics? No, it does not hurt coated optics. It does hurt any kind of plastic parts near the optic, okay? And if you have flat black paint, which is the best kind, one of the best ways to keep down reflections near an optic is to use flat black paint. The flat black paint will get off onto the tissue, so you wipe it, and then you notice that your lens now has flat black paint on it, okay? And now you're going in and you're cleaning that off, and you're cleaning this off, and that becomes a problem. So as beginners, I'm going to recommend you do not use acetone, okay? If you worked for me, we would have you cleaning so many optics that you would be an expert. But let's see. What other questions? Karen, that's great advice to keep the diagonal in the cell since you don't want to mess around with recalibration. Scott and Ken, what do you think about the blower bulbs? Yeah, blower bulbs are good. They're good. It's just a lot more work. You're sitting there squeezing a blower bulb, but you'll see a lot of opticians use that for sure.
If I was in a dusty environment, I wouldn't use them. If I was out where there was a lot of dust in the air, you're just sucking up dust and blowing dusty air back on the lens. So I don't necessarily, if I was in my house or somewhere, fine. But if I'm somewhere where it's dusty, I'm not going to probably use that.
Mm-hmm. Elliot Neal says, realize that Rigel has a 7th magnitude companion. It could be mistaken as a spike since it's oriented almost north-south. It's possible.
Yeah. Hi, Elliot.
And Richard Grace says, put a HEPA filter on the blower bulb. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. All right.
Anyways, I think you have a little bit of news here with a product that's arrived, right?
There was a container backed up on the dock a little while ago. And so I wandered out there and saw them unloading and didn't go look. And one of the guys, Carl, came up from the back and announced to me that the observatory tents have arrived, as well as a product we've never talked about before. So this is the first public speaking of it. We have a backpack that will hold up to a 102 if you remove the focuser, and quite a number of eyepieces, and has some straps so you can carry a tripod, designed basically for the Exos 100. So it's quite a nice little package. We will be utilizing the studio that we've got set up here, which we've not talked about. I'll be broadcasting from the studio on Monday and showing both these products as well. So we'll be announcing price, and there will be a special price on the backpack for paid Explore Alliance members. So if you're a paid Explore Alliance member, you're going to be able to buy this backpack for probably a week at a pretty darn good price. So that's going to be out there. And it's a really good looking product. We played with it, 3 or 4 models of it in 2020, and came up with a really workable, good, solid design. So those will be we'll be showing those off on Monday. Okay. And we'll make the announcement to the dealers on Monday, Tuesday. And, if you're an Explore Alliance member and want to buy it through your favorite dealer, we will credit the favorite dealer with that purchase.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Yep. Okay. All right. So coming up tonight, we have the Astronomical League Live. This is their 3rd event that they've done. And so that comes up at about an hour and 15 minutes from now. They have a great program. It's all about dark matter, and but the Astronomical League always pulls out all the stops, and they have a great lineup of speakers. So you can see Chuck Allen, who's there, Terry Mann. I'm sure Carol Orge will be there. They're all Chuck and Terry are past presidents of the league. Carol Orge is the current president, but a bunch of great people that really have your best interests in mind and your astronomical lifestyle. So if you don't belong to the Astronomical League, you should check in with your club to see if they have league membership. You might already be a member and not know it, or you can join as a member at large. And if you are an international astronomer, you live in a country outside the United States, you can join the Astronomical League as a member at large as well. They have lots of benefits. It's really cool program, and they're starting to do these live programs to do outreach to share their knowledge. So anyhow, anything else you'd like to add there, Kent?
No, it's going to get cold here. So
it is cold here.
No, it's going to get cold here, Scott. -7. I don't know how warm the Barbara Jean stays, but I think you might better go buy a quilt this weekend just be safe. All right, good deal. Yeah. So it's and sadly, it's not clear in 7 degrees. It's cloudy in 7 degrees.
Yeah, that's true.
Or -7. If it was clear, it would be spectacular viewing in this brutal cold weather. But it's cloudy, brutal cold. So there's that. Anyway, it's good to see everybody. Love seeing the comments. Love seeing people talk about stuff. Wonderful way to connect to our customers. And I know Scott, when Scott's getting ready for these, every day he's like a little kid at Christmas. I mean, he lives for this stuff. He's getting ready for these.
Why wouldn't we want to spend time with our community?
I know. Yeah.
To be very honest with you, once I figured out how to do all this stuff, I was like, well, we have to, we've got to be, you want to, if you were president of an astronomy club, you would be attending all the meetings. You would, if you could somehow be at we're a commercial manufacturer. If you could be at a trade show every day to talk to your customers and show your products and stuff like that, you'd probably do that. You know, but we're in a lifestyle of equipment, and we're gear outfitters is really kind of how I see ourselves. And you know, all of you that are doing astronomy are you're doing personal exploration. You're making personal discoveries. You know, maybe the first time for you to see, you know, the Sombrero Galaxy, for example. It's going to be that would be just as big of a thrill for someone to see that for the very first time as it is for somebody who discovers comets and seeing a new comet for the first time. It is a real rush of discovery, and it's good for you, and it's good. I'm gonna start doing lectures with astronomy clubs of the reasons why stargazing and being out under the stars is good for you, because it is. Anyhow, you guys have a good weekend. If you're not going to be on the show for the Astronomical League show, but I would recommend that you do. But you know, I hope you have a good weekend overall anyways. And you know, if you're somewhere here in the Midwest like we are, I hope you're staying warm. Slow down out there if you're driving. You know, that pile up in Dallas was absolutely horrific, and you know, over 100 cars were piled up, and unfortunately some people lost their lives. So it's totally unnecessary. Be careful out there, and keep looking up.
Have a great weekend, everybody.
Yeah. See you in about an hour. Take care.
Explore Scientific offers a wide range of astronomical filters that take narrow slices of light and allow you to see that light or capture it on a camera. The filters come in a Wilterian planisphere box, which is a piece of art unto itself. These are beautiful. I know people who display these in their homes because they're so pretty. The filters arrive inside of a plastic protective case, such as this one, with a 2-inch filter. We also offer 1.25-inch filters. These filters screw in to a diagonal, an eyepiece, or fit into a filter tray or filter wheel for astronomical or visual use. We offer UHC filters, CLS filters, hydrogen beta filters, and a neutral density filter. The first three are great for nebula. The fourth one, the neutral density filter, is great for use when you're looking at a bright moon. Cuts down the brightness, makes it easier on your eye, and lets you see details that would otherwise be washed out by the brightness. To explore our filters, go to explorescientificusa.com, go to astrophotography, down to filters, and you'll see our selection. They come in both 1.25-inch and 2-inch in the ones I've listed. I'm Kent Martz with Explore Scientific.